Starting off tonight is Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland, Democrat of Washington State. Let's start, Congresswoman, with these Musk emails sent out from the Office of Personnel Management to more than 2 million federal workers last night and shared with NBC News that employees were asked to send 5 bullet points listing what they accomplished in the last week. Failure to reply by midnight tomorrow will be taken as a resignation. Chaos and confusion has already broken out, with some departments, including the FBI and the State Department, telling staff to ignore the message. What's your response to all this, Congresswoman?
So my response to this, Reverend, is that all these actions being taken by Musk and Trump do nothing to lower costs. The cost of eggs, the cost of gas, the price of housing, the cost of prescription drugs, they're doing nothing to lower costs. And as I look at these actions, it's an assault on the people who are serving us to keep us safe, to protect us, to do all the things that government is supposed to do for us. And so I'm glad that they are getting directives to just completely ignore these things. These are illegal. They're uncalled for, and it's just another example that Trump and Musk have no idea what they're doing, and they do not understand what the government does to protect the American people.
Now you sit on the Armed Forces Committee. Let's talk about the situation at the Pentagon on Friday. The Trump administration fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the chief of Navy operations, the vice chairman of the Air Force, plus the top military lawyers for the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Obviously, the president has the latitude to decide his military team, but critics are already warning that the incoming Joint Chiefs chairman, a retired lieutenant general with no experience, none, as a top officer, is also a Trump loyalist, signaling the president's desire to remake the military in his image. What's your reaction to what's happening, and is the administration using the proper procedures to do this?
So what you see happening right now is just another chapter in the saga of Trump's requirement of having loyalists do these important jobs. The only qualification that Trump has is that people have to declare their undying loyalty to him. You have people who are qualified, who have served this nation with honor, and now they're being dismissed just out of hand. And I think about especially, General Brown, who was confirmed, I believe it, with at least 85 votes in the Senate, highly qualified. And typically this position stays for at least 4 years. And so what Trump is doing is demonstrating again to the American people that loyalty is the only qualification. This puts national security at risk. This will hurt recruitment and retention, and it sends a very, very strong message that does not make people want to join the military, that he will politicize this office, that he will make them have to talk about what their politics are and declare loyalty to him. And again, this puts our national security at risk.
Now, it's been expected for months that Trump would fire the Joint Chiefs chairman, the second black person to hold that position, by the way, and the first woman to serve as Navy's top officer. In both of those cases, the officers had become targets of MAGA Republicans like Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who've claimed without evidence that they were too woke or so-called DEI hires. What is the long-term impact of this kind of politicization of the post?
Well, here's one thing I will say, Reverend. Just because someone is not a white man and has a high-ranking position does not mean that they're not qualified. And that's really the underlying premise of how they use the term woke. Again, we come back to how this affects the morale of troops. 40% of the people who serve in the military in the enlisted ranks are people of color. We want people who are qualified from any background to serve in the military, and to attack these leaders based on who they are and their identities is uncalled for, and it hurts morale, and it's going to, again, hurt recruiting and retention in the military.
Now, NBC News is reporting newly sworn-in FBI Director Kash Patel is also expected to take over as head of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, a frequent target of Trump and Republicans who've claimed the ATF's effort to regulate gun sales has infringed on Americans' Second Amendment rights. Many critics say newly confirmed FBI Director Kash Patel doesn't have the experience to run one federal agency, let alone two. What's your take on this?
Again, Reverend, it's another example of Trump only selecting loyalists. This person's probably one of the most highly unqualified cabinet positions. And I think what's remarkable to me in all of this, we're talking about our military, we're talking about our national security apparatus. I've served with people who are veterans of wars. They have put their lives on the line. And the silence of the Republicans during all this is deafening. And so as I think about the people I serve with, I ask myself, to all the Republicans in the House and the Senate, where is your spine? Why are you not speaking up about what's happening in this country? If a Democratic president were doing this, they would be up in arms all the time about it. So what is it about Donald Trump that scares them so much? Because even if he's threatening to spend money and to primary them in an election, it is unpatriotic to put that ahead of what's good for this country. So I ask the Republicans, grow a spine, do your job, and speak out, because you know this is wrong.
Before you go, Germany's Conservative Party appears to have won the nation's election